How is it working? How is it working? How is it working? How can paper hold value? In 1971, they thought that the dollar would fall over time, so they borrowed big. And then a 1-2 punch happened when everyone was like, "Oh, look at that! We can borrow dollars." Everybody borrowed. Now we're all holding the bag. Everybody's holding the bag. How do we move that bag? I'm gonna tell you, millennials. I feel that if we obtain cheap gold and transfer that into then dollars, transfer it into stocks, transfer it into however you want to do it. If you obtain it cheap and you give it back to them, I feel that we can actually get out of this bag that we're all holding in a positive manner. Because I mean, I'm not necessarily for the whole, and this is another topic too, I'm not for the whole anarchy principle, as strange as that may seem. I'm from the build it better principle, because I feel that to innovate off of the current structure is much more obtainable than it is to first deconstruct, either fight for deconstruction, you have to fight for deconstruction legislation, and then assemble new legislation to then reconstruct a new being, rather than just to renovate the current structure. I mean, just talk about any landlord, tenant, renter that you know. Anybody would love to renovate their own house before. So that's how that would go right there. Um, on that though, with the short dollar squeeze, the gold and the milkshake principle, I feel it'll be a long-term gold holding. And while they were saying that institutions and individuals can sit in dollars, while institutions are obligated to hold assets such as hedge funds, pensions, ETFs, all the stocks and bonds, mutual funds that you all know about, we can all sit in the dollar and ride the dollar roller coaster, milkshake theory of the stocks down, dollar up, gold in, dollar up, gold down, dollar in, gold up principle. And when that happens, I feel that'll ultimately lead the millennial to at least something of a stature that would be able to be maintained. I definitely feel that this is an 18-month play, and it's the biggest trade ever, and it's going to be the last financial opportunity in history. And this is what Chance was hinting to on the phone earlier. And then when we get him back, I'll definitely jump right back to this page, and we'll get his take on this for sure. I'm going to hit a little mark on that one there. Over an 18-month play with the biggest trade ever, the last financial opportunity in history before a reset will happen, the hedge funds are going to be sinking like a boat, and they have to make a profit for their clients. But personal holdings are experimental. So all of these people that are hedge fund managers, their personal holdings are experimental, and their personal holdings are what will actually support and make the play on this new economic move. The hedge fund holders, you can say, the firms themselves, they're sinking because they have to hold assets. Over time, the assets will go back up, because when the asset market liquidates from fear of failure, the dollar assets will go into strength, and that will drive gold down. When the dollar assets liquidate and go into gold markets, that'll drive dollar assets up. And then when the gold markets liquidate, that'll drive dollar markets up. And then when the dollar markets are strong, that'll drive the economy up, and that'll then drive asset price up. But you see, where we make the move from gold to dollars, the structure is to make the move from gold back to asset. An asset generates dollar, and dollar is now stronger from everybody liquidating gold into their dollars. But if you're generating dollars, then you're generating dollars, and they're wanting that, so then you just buy their gold from them, and then it's cheaper. It's the whole cycle process there. And I really am hoping that we're able to come together as a collective, come together as a family, to not use the individual hedge fund manager approach, because what I just explained here is how it's been going since 1971. And if you've been alive since 1971, if you're still on this earth since 1971, keep doing what you're doing. keep doing what you're doing, because what you're doing is on an old playbook. So if you've been here since 1971, this is not necessarily for you. Please start a new portfolio and then consider these aspect theories. You cannot use your old portfolio in these new dynamic fashions. You will lose your shit. None of this is financial information. None of this. We should have had a disclaimer at the beginning. None of this is financial information. We're all millennials trying to do our best to not get swamped. What's going out here in these times. So anyway, distressed assets is going to be my biggest question for Chance and what he believes stressed assets will be. That's where crypto comes up. I'll let that be for him. And if this has to be another part 2 to this conversation, we'll have another part 2 to this conversation, because I really want to get his aspect on that specifically. But distressed assets, we really need to see and really need to realize what they're going to be. And overall, coming together as a family to realize the distressed assets and to drop them down below. And even this can be, and from years from now, in the comments, we can just keep going with distressed assets that we think are going to be, and keep adding to it like a thread series, because this is not covetous. This is for expansion. This is for all of us. This is not in an individual play. This is for the overall good, I feel, and that's what my motivation on it is. So in that line and in that light, I'm going to again tip my hat to Mike Maloney and Brent Johnson over in San Diego Capital in San Francisco, California, repping the Bay on the West Coast, and my friend Chance over here. And hopefully we can get him back on here and we can follow up and do another series on this. So for now, I'm going to call it on that one. I'm going to say thank you all for tuning in today and taking the time to follow along with this podcast series. And I'm hoping that we're going to turn the tides on this one and make some great movement going forward in the future. And hopefully we will all be able to make great transitions in our lifetimes. So with that being said, family, I would like to say, from me and mine and yours, Jah love and Jah live. Love y'all, fam. Peace be with you. And go out and enjoy your day. Get some sunlight.